Okay, another day, another dollar. Your boy Kamal Hart on the chart, and we're going bar by bar. So off the bat, we're seeing these lower highs. Um, you're getting a trend there. Getting the day started at 6:34. This is actually closer to when I got on the chart today. So I would have missed some of this stuff up here, but we can go back real quick and touch on it. Get the lower side line in there. So, what I'm seeing is that if you look at this low is lower than this low. So when you count, went down once, second time, it's a little bit congested there, but since it's a small bar and there's space to the lows of the congestion, um, you could have considered going short right there for sure at the trend line. That's a pretty good short. That would have been an easy sell. So we had a push down. I'd even be bold enough to give this a micro trend on the basis of we started above, went below, broke below previous lows. Micro trend. But now we're getting a push higher, kind of this middle pattern right in there. And once we break above this area, we're going to swap micro trend lines. So right there, let's take this line. We're going to make it go there instead. Um, we'll wait to take a trade until we get a failed second entry short. But our price action, this channel isn't holding. It's a clue that we've only had one bounce off the low, meaning that on the low side it's a lot less confirmed than it was up here. And now that we're breaking outside of it, we're going to be using this micro trend to get better trades or to find our opportunities. So right there, get a pullback, get a little entry right there. And that's a failed second entry. So you can consider going right there. It doesn't set up though because it just never broke above. So since it doesn't break above, let's get off that. And now it's going kind of sideways, if anything. And here's actually where I took my first trade of the day. I don't have it charted today because I had to restart, but it's where I took my first trade. It's not really a great trade when it's all said and done. Um, One, it's in kind of a congestion sort of area. So I was kind of trading the breakout, but the way I was seeing it is that since we, had this trend, I'm looking for a test of this EMA at least. Um, and it's, technically the second entry was right there. It's not really a great trade. I just saw that lip and kind of took a quick trade and a little bit of risk on that, and it played out pretty decent, got the scalp. And then I was actually trying to hold it to these lows down here. So one contract I had already scalped out by this point. And then on that second contract, I saw this bar, and I'm expecting the retest here and maybe a pullback down. Um, but I wasn't willing to give back all. I entered on a limit order on this bar. So I wanted to at least secure some of that profit. And I exited right there on that tip. At the time when it breaks above, you have no idea that it's going to reverse. But I exited right there and then it reversed back where I thought it was. And that kind of gave me the lower high setup, big engulfing bar. A little, once again, like even this trade isn't that great of a trade, to be honest. The setup isn't that good. But now I'm kind of looking at it more like leg one, and maybe we're going to get a leg two somewhere down here. So I re-entered on a limit there. When it broke below, I just put my limit order. It came back, filled me, and then closed down there. pretty much got my scalp easily. And then I had my second contract at that 3 point mark, which was right here on this 30, 80, 25 line. And prices went right to it, but didn't tick through, and then made this inside green bar. And then I had my stop, my cover stop, one tick above this red bar right there. And on the next bar, got me out. But it was a measured move. If I would have seen that this measured move had played out by the time we got down here, I would have been more willing to exit on this close, or while it was, building up, I would have tried to exit honestly right around there. So that's kind of how I can manage that runner better on this one, is that I should have exited there. And then even back here, where I exited my runner 2 ticks from my entry, the way my strategy works is that I should be exiting and covering 1 tick from my entry. And had I have done that, I would have been stopped out. It's really weird how many times the market will miss your stop by 1 tick based off of your rules. And same thing here, it didn't tick through, and that was the difference between $100 of profit in terms of the swing, So just really a weird mental heady game sometimes. But I think one thing to remember about these entries that I took short is that they worked, but in the context of this micro trend we have here, we haven't gotten a reversal pattern yet. We need another bar to fall below to get that reversal pattern and then to start really trusting these shorts. So really, you're kind of, I wouldn't say you're thinking long, but maybe you're not taking any trades right now because the market is still going above and below the EMA. So you want to be getting short up here and long down here when it's doing something like that. So we got a little push going now. So that's giving me a sign that, okay, we are going to get this retest over here. And then it becomes a little more obvious that we have something that's setting up right off these lows, if y'all can see that. So, and then off these highs, maybe it's somewhere like there. Okay. So we can do, I mean, it helped us for one trade, so let's keep it on the chart. I was going to take it off, but sometimes I don't like taking it off. I just like to make it less visible. So you still have the context of where your mind was at, but it doesn't draw too much attention when you're forming new ideas. Okay, just clean that up real fast. Boom. Okay, so now we're getting that push up. We're breaking above a previous swing. I typically don't make new micro trends when we're still working on the play out, but I might start experimenting with that. I just think it gets confusing because then you're just never sure when it broke or what's going on. This is the higher low. This is probably a better place to make the micro trend, to be honest, because now we're getting a swing. Once it breaks above there, it's kind of a big bar, so I'm not in love with it, but we're coming right off the EMA. We're probably going to test these highs. I could see why with the signal bar that good you would go long there. And that one played out pretty decent. And then just for picture's sake, we can get that on top. And then here we get the failed second entry short off this low. Prices were moving up. We went lower once, moved up, went lower twice, and then failed. This trade is going to be a little more aggressive though. This one up here, because you got a triple top. We're kind of floating. We're not touching the EMA, but we're still coming off this little micro trend line, so that's a good sign. And you gotta kind of fight through that, but it goes on and ticks ahead. So now, since we're on this upper side, let's get a mid line in there, and we can start using the midline to gauge how strong the pullbacks are and there are any opportunities on those pullbacks. There's almost already more trades than there were yesterday. Okay, so this little bar right here is going to be just the first entry, double bottom though. So we can use this as a new low as we count, but it's going to be a double bottom off the EMA. Just the first entry. We're gonna wait. Good thing. So now we're getting that pullback that we need. Got another push above and a turn. That's a failed second entry short, but we're in an uptrend for sure right now. We really want to resist the temptation to counter trend uptrends. And then we get this signal bar. It's not touching our EMA or our channel line. It's going into the EMA. It's not really a second entry. The second entry triggered right there. So we're going to wait. Gets a strong, that gets a huge push. But that's just how the game goes. I think at this point on both channels, there's a break, move to a new high. There's a break, move to a new high. So we need to keep watching for the pullback to see where we can get in long again. And that's nice how it's holding up here as well. That's pretty good. Red bar, no shorts. Just waiting. Here's our first entry. Good push. That seems like it. That's a matching high right there. And there's a pullback. That was a second entry long, but that was a bad signal bar. It's not touching anything. We're going to stay out. We're not trying to get long up in here. So you made the new high up here. Just got to wait, be patient. It keeps creeping up. That's fine. Now we're getting the pullback, setting up off the EMA. Here's just the first entry here when it breaks above. There's nothing there that you want to take yet. Got a little push. Now we'll pull back. Now we're pulling back. We want to see a second entry. That's a second entry that we want. It's a little bit floating. That's not great, but price action's pretty bullish. So I feel kind of comfortable going long there. Really strong signal bar. Second entry to the high, plenty of room to those highs. I'd be in there. That thing works like a charm. So you'll miss certain ones, but then you'll catch other ones that, I mean, that's an easy trade. Doesn't even pull back at all. Maybe just on this bar there's a pullback, but shoots on off. And another really good sign, see how we're bouncing off this trend channel line? Good sign. So off this low, that's just a first entry. Okay, we're breaking below there. We're breaking above here. This is a failed second entry. I'm going to go ahead and say let's skip it just because we're so close to the highs and we just touched the upper side of our line. We didn't really touch the EMA at any point or the midline. Yeah, it would have failed. It's just, when you just touch this channel line, you really need to wait, let it reset, or you need a very strong setup of some sort. That failed second entry short up here isn't what I would consider the strong setup we're looking for. It's just a first entry to that high. It's pretty good. Nothing there really that you want to take. There's maybe a small aggressive trade in there. If this is our double bottom, then this could be a failed second entry short. I'm not sure how to feel about this. I think I'm going to go. The only thing that's changed is now that we've bounced off this EMA, the context has changed. But I just don't want to be the guy buying it a tick from the high. So I'm going to wait on that one too. And then when it stacks up like this, I'm definitely not going to buy up there. Whether it works or not, that's just not going to be a winning strategy long term, buying when you see a bunch of tops like that. So really we're just waiting for a pullback and a chance to get long, or like a second entry long. There's a lot of stack up right there. See how it's getting kind of messy and tight? It's a little nosy. If you do want to chart this, I think the EMA and our midline are charting it the best. If there's anything I see in terms of charting, I'd be more looking at these congestion areas as opposed to trying to find another trend line or something. Since we got like the double bottom here and stuff, I'd be looking at it more like, okay, we had congestion, we broke out, that's the breakout pullback. And had you have looked at it like that, you might have bought that because there would have been room. 94.50. Yeah, there would have been room to the high to exit. So if you were looking at it, this kind of congestion, there would have been a trade probably right there you could have taken. And then even just to continue the pattern on a smaller scale, there's probably something there as well. Just between those small little bars. So now we're just kind of waiting. We need to see a good pullback. Prices are moving down off this high. Here's a second entry long. My gut is telling me this is going to fail just because, but you break out of this congestion off this high, first entry, second entry, get a little movement. Oh, and it doesn't. Hard to do, It's like your emotions are going to tell you not to enter a trade that is totally valid because you're afraid of losing. So you just have to try to trust your strategy, and doing it bar by bar like this and talking about every bar and what should be going through my mind is helping. But yeah, see, that's a trade that I would have skipped. That definitely worked out pretty well. So now you can see this pretty strong trend. It's 10:50, so about an hour left on the day to trade. Okay, getting a big push down. At this point, I think we have to respect that this is some sort of trend, micro trend, which is fine because we want to see prices pull back to this area and potentially break this area, and then we're going to start buying. So bring it on. We want to see this thing drop. Drop in. Drop in there. So now we're getting some stack up. That's the high or low or lower high from this high, but you're so far from the EMA. There's going to be no trades here, maybe longs, but until we get more price action, there's no trade you want to take down here. Even if that looks so amazing, we're definitely not going to take that. One, it's just such a big bar that's going to be outside your 2-point stop range. You're going to need to get in somewhere back in here. Once again, we're just so far from the EMA. So you would have entered there, and now you're fighting a reversal. Going back. See how it's just kind of stacked up. There's nothing in there. Nothing in there. Just going back and forth. A little breakout. So we need to see a breakout in some sort of signal bar. That's ugly. A breakout, a little bearish bar. Just waiting. See, traders are trying to decide what to do here. So smart traders are just waiting. Here's the first trade I see that you might take, just because we broke out. We broke out to this high. It's just kind of nasty. There might be a second entry in there. The goal is to get in here and try to exit before this line. But you need to be careful though, because sometimes if we get such a strong move down and then consolidate, there might be a leg two. So we need to be really careful and see how that kind of pulls back and it resets. So you just got to see. You got to see what these next bars do. And that pushes out for you. There's another hidden entry. I wanted to have doubled up, but for our range rules, This is one of the range rules that we haven't been able to talk about much lately. So on this bar, if you look at it, we have a high here, push down, long, pull back that doesn't break below this signal bar. Then there's a great signal bar itself. That's going to be a higher low and a second entry. So you want to go long there. This trade is going to be a better trade than this trade was. That gives you a nice push. Before we make micro trends, we need to see a breakout and pull back. I'd argue it hasn't necessarily broken out either. I could say that the tops of this range are actually up here now. So I could say, maybe there's a midline somewhere in there. That's about right. So we're just bouncing around in this little range. Not seeing any trades that I like. There's a double bottom there. That bounced as well. Nothing though that I'd be willing to take right now. This looks nice, but once again, we're just kind of just bouncing around. We can let's make our lines a little bigger. Just make these our new bottoms. And then take this off. Then we can have the highs up here to get a clear midline. And that's the thing, if you just kind of stay patient, the market is going to show you where it's going, because as every bar prints, you're getting more data. The key is that you're not buying and selling on these swings, losing money or losing mental cool, so that when you see a good setup, you can be prepared and ready to take one. So this is an okay setup, but I think the bar is too big and it's just a little too noisy, whether that's really a second entry or not. Get a little push. So now we're getting a breakout. So let's see it push back down once and set back up, then we can maybe go long. And I'll be into that because that's going to be a failed second entry. It's going to be a breakout pullback. Kind of like right there. Let's see if that works. I think at this point, if that breaks above, I'd be willing to, let's give it a line as well. Okay, got the break above. You're able to get out of that one, no problem. Got a nice little break above. It's and that gets us to 12 o'clock. So that trade triggered at 11:46, and that's 12. So we would be done for the day. There's some good trades today. A lot of easy trades. If you're patient, I think just as a rule of thumb, you're always going to have to be patient trading, because even though you're getting all this movement in here, maybe this big move down here, I know, even when I was starting, you'd see this big move, and then you want to like trade all this stuff in here because you got so excited from seeing this, and you think about how much money you could make if it does it again. But like it didn't, and sellers tried a few times to make it go down, but it didn't. In fact, what's more likely to happen is, let's look at our price action structure, is that we had a bull trend that held, that it break outside, it congested, and it's moving to retest the highs. It happens over and over, and we'll let it play out. Let's see if it touches those highs. It's the aftermarkets now at 7 my time. So it doesn't really quite get there within reasonable time. Actually, here's the daybreak. Here's the daybreak right there, and it comes within a few ticks. So it doesn't break above, but it tested it. So The key and the plan is always going to be follow the rules, and you're going to get the best opportunities. So there it goes. That's November 13th, bar by bar. Questions, comments, DMs, emails, everything. Let me know. I can definitely help you answer those questions on any chart. I just trade the ES because it's simpler just to focus on one market, but this stuff works on every chart as long as humans are trading. Cool. That's going to be it for today. And I'm going to catch y'all back again tomorrow. See ya.